checking sound. Sounds good. I'm looking at YouTube. YouTube looks good. Perfect. So Michael, don't stream anything, don't install anything, don't talk about doing any of those things, don't restart your router.
Uh-oh.
Don't do
I
anything.
can't restart my router?
Don't do anything with your computer.
That's demanding. Okay.
So, welcome everyone to the Foolish Tech Show. It's Friday, finally, right?
Oh, it is Friday. Yay.
Yep. We're here to provide support and answer any questions about our software services. Otherwise, we're going to just talk about random stuff, tech stuff and non-tech stuff, and just random stuff in general. So, if you do have any questions and want to interrupt us at any time, feel free and jump on over to foolishtechshow.com. You can join our IRC chat there and make all of your questions or software services, anything like that. We'll talk about it, or you can pretty much direct the way our chat goes by just asking us random questions and such. So, we do have Michael streaming today, but he's been hog-tied, so he can't touch his computer, hopefully. We had to rely on himself doing that, though, so
Oh, well,
we'll
can
see.
you see the chat? Speaking of which? Yeah, you
Yes.
can. Okay, good. How is that possible? Because I can't see the chat. Oh well.
You don't need to know how magic works. It just does.
Thank you,
Um,
Phoenix. Thank you, Phoenix, for the reminder. I, of course, would have, despite what Brownlee just said, I would have actually done something. But now that you've said it, my fingers are, or my hands are tied.
well, thank you. Um, so Phoenix posted a few links in there, but we had already talked about some of them. Um, the Microsoft to store data on DNA, like I told Michael yesterday, I don't care about it until they actually sell some sort of product that actually does that. Otherwise, it's just all theory and going to be too expensive. Um,
I mean, but the drop in cost is so dramatic that it rivals like the SSD drop in cost. So, and we saw how relatively quickly that usurped existing hard drive.
yeah,
So
but
it's
how are
possible.
you going to be doing a thing?
Well, it would require.
How are you going to get a hard drive that reads DNA? You're going to tell me that's going to be cheap?
Well, no, but the fact that they've got these, like for instance, it used to cost, or the funding to do the Human Genome Project was billions and billions of dollars. I don't remember the exact amount, but it was in the
Yeah,
billions.
we haven't
Okay,
even, by the
and
way, we
now
haven't even figured out DNA in
that
general.
same amount
So,
of work can be done in like I can't remember. I think it's $10,000 or something like that. So going down from the cost of $1 billion to $10,000 is a dramatic reduction in cost. Am I saying it's going to replace any sort of existing storage in the short term? No, but maybe in several decades from now, it might be come down to a level where it could potentially do something like that.
yeah. Phoenix, you may need to restart your or refresh your page.
And
YouTube
decades,
is
maybe.
kind of a pain about that. It is streaming. I'm watching it on my side. Um, yeah, anyway, we don't know anything about, or we know very little about DNA and how it all works. We barely know how it works for us. So I still don't think it's a worthwhile story until we
Oh,
actually have a product based on it. Um,
okay.
so the other first link you posted was about the U.S. Supreme Court allowing the FBI to hack any computer in the uh,
Oh, that
hack
was.
any computer. So I had a different link. I was already going to talk about that one.
Hmm.
Essentially, this was just so that it gives them the power to hack into stuff, but it can also be kind of vague and allow them to hack into whatever they want. Um, basically, I think it means that They do still have to have a warrant though, but I didn't really read it that much in depth yet, so something to look into.
Nothing interests Brantley unless he originally thought of it. But
I did originally think of that one.
anyway, um,
You
was
did
was
post,
there another link? Was there
yeah,
another
a
link we
couple
could be
other
a little bit more
links.
positive about?
Not it's not a very positive one. Like we had said earlier, that electric and water and utilities and power plants and all that stuff is
Oh no.
dangerously open. It's being shown right there. Um, and then also Michael had talked about this earlier today. Again, I, I don't really see a big issue with it, but apparently people are going to be upset that you can't use Cortana to use anything else except for Bing and Edge. Um,
Yeah, so it won't interact with third-party browser anymore, and it won't, of course, get information from Yahoo. Not that anybody gets information from Yahoo, but more importantly, Google. Yeah.
I still don't see an issue with that, but I don't use Cortana either. So,
Yeah, it
I
would
mean,
only apply if you
honestly,
use Cortana, so,
if you're using Cortana, though, you might as well just be using Edge.
again, I mean, I sort of see Microsoft's vague point that they can control the end user experience more if they have control over the all the links in the chain. Certainly, that's a very valid argument. However, all of those other alternatives can do what Microsoft can do, and they also sometimes offer up better results. I don't know about you, but I don't choose to use Bing because of some of the differences. Although it's been a while since I looked at it, so
I
I've
don't,
heard
but
it's
I don't choose to use
reasonable.
Cortana. I don't.
Yeah,
It's
I mean, I guess as
unusual,
long as you have some
actually.
choice, as long as you have some choice in the matter, I believe it's okay. But I feel that they're, instead when everyone's in the process of
I
opening
mean,
up, and
why
on the
are
other
you
hand,
using Cortana and you want to use Google search results? You can just say "OK Google" to Chrome.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, you're right. I guess it really doesn't. Yeah, yeah. I mean, and so each browser has their own. So I guess
That's
you're
the
right.
way
You're right.
around it. Like it's not a huge deal. I don't see why people would use Cortana and expect anything other than Microsoft stuff.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, I'm completely with you on this now. Yeah, they should.
Bunch points out that Cortana doesn't even understand you after 4 beers.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there's a big difference in that's one of the big factors there is that Google typically returns much better information than the Bing and Cortana aspect of it. But you know what? I'll give Microsoft the benefit of doubt. It's nice to have competition in the market. If they have a different technology than Google that may eventually improve to rival theirs, and it's available to me built into the OS, maybe I'll start to use it. But I'm kind of with you in agreement with you on this. That it's really not that big of an issue because all the browsers probably should or offer, and search engines and browsers when they happen to be tied together,
Well, they
they're
don't.
offering
But
this type of
I mean,
feature.
like
So
Firefox doesn't have that feature. It's
no, because
just
it's not a
Google
search
Chrome.
engine. Because Firefox isn't a search engine, but
Yeah.
Google is a search engine. So, and Google does make Chrome. So,
Well, Apple's not a search engine and it has Siri.
um, that's true.
It's just people who make digital voice assistants apps. It's its own thing. So,
Yeah, yeah, but it has to
um,
get the data from somewhere. So ultimately, even Siri is
there's another
searching
one
the.
too. Uh, that's I used to have it on my phone. I don't think I do
Well,
anymore.
there's Linux ones for other.
No,
Um,
there's an alternative to using that search. I don't think I have it on my phone anymore. So I was
I
just
don't know.
aggravated
I
that I
don't
didn't
know. I don't know. I
Google's
don't.
anyway.
I can't
Because
quite see
voice
chat. I can't quite see chat. I'm gonna attempt to bring it up on the screen just so I can look at it. If something goes wrong here,
chat's working fine.
okay. All right, but I couldn't see it on the screen, and so I wanted to be able to see what people were saying.
Oh, well, it does show the bottom of the user list, but whatever, it's fine. Um,
Oh crap. Let me actually, I didn't know. That's the one thing that actually seemed like it just pulled over automatically. You don't think it shows the bottom 1810? Yeah, it does. What's the problem with it? Oh, that. Oh, I
the
see.
right side.
The right side. Let me turn that off. There we go. Fixed? Yeah, fixed.
Um, well, here's another interesting article. Oh, wait. Yeah, we already talked about that one. All right, so another interesting article. Um, it's not kind of dead. We're talking it up, Phoenix. What are you talking about? Um,
Oh Lord. Okay, so Intel cut their Atom chips. They're basically giving up on the smartphone and tablet market. It would appear, based upon their canceling their Sophia and Broxton upcoming um, chips. I'm going to go ahead and put a link in there regarding that. I don't know. I'm not sure what to make of this. Um, I mean, are they completely? I guess they believe they
I don't
can't
think
compete
they.
with.
I think their chips are just small and fast enough now that they don't have to use a like
Well,
Atom
they
knows
don't.
how to
They don't.
fill a specific niche in netbook computers essentially, like low power usage and uh, basically like less than Celeron performance. So it was like a niche processor anyway, and now you can have
I'm. Yeah. Well, you think. Um.
yeah you can have fast chips in small devices now. So there's
Well,
no reason
if you
to
read
have
this
that.
article, they're taking a completely different
PC
take.
World
But yeah, maybe that's not the right take
PC
on
World
it.
has to come out with some content. They can't just be like, oh well, it's gone. It was worthless anyway. Um, Now, here's a good
Let's
article
see.
that we all need to pay attention to, and I'm going to try it out on Michael because he is the worst at this. But Lifehacker has a teach your kids to stop interrupting with this technique. Um, I haven't tried it out on Michael yet, so I can't tell you the validity of it working or not, but we'll see. We'll try out some of those things and see if
Okay,
it works.
here's some better information relating to that other previous thing I was talking about. But anyway, sorry about that. Yeah, so try it out on me.
I will. I will eventually. But speaking of kids, don't you just hate having to deal with them? Well, thanks to virtual reality, you won't anymore. So, with VR headsets now, you don't have to tell those kids bedtime stories anymore. You can just throw a gizmo on their face, put some headphones on, they'll get their bedtime story, then you yank it off their face and tie them down to the bed like you normally would. No comment on that, Michael?
I mean, I think it's horrible. I mean, what do you want me to say?
That's good enough, I guess.
I mean, look. I mean, if you're trying to provoke me, I'm probably gonna try not to take the bait on topics like parenting, which is very personal matter. And of course, I believe that the deterioration of the family is a huge problem in our current society. And so, if you need technology to intervene in that, if you use technology to improve that, I would say yes. But if it's a replacement for it, or whatever, that's an issue. That's all I'm gonna say on it, though. Otherwise, it's
Oh,
your
actually,
personal.
reading the article, it says that you have to be in the VR. So you wear the Samsung Gear VR, and then you give your kid a Chrome or a Google Cardboard VR, and then you actually read them the story
Okay, I mean,
in
if this,
VR.
if so, for a traveling parent, for instance, this could be, an option. I believe that's a great use of the technology. But if this is an excuse for parents to just not go up to their kid's room and read to them, I kind of don't
Yeah, which
like
is
that.
probably gonna be more likely outcome of it.
Well, I'd like not to think that, but just knowing how I've been disappointed by giving people benefit of the doubt. Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, and the questions about the FBI $1 million phone hack, and I we talked about this ad nauseum. But the fact that they just don't know how the hack works and that they paid so much for it, I think, is a little bit scary. There's articles. Um, um, about it. Let's see there and
Phoenix, we could do a show on that, except for the fact that Discord does not have an embedded web page option, so it's not better than IRC. Um, it's great that there's a different product out there, but it's not better than what we have set up and what we're using it for. So, um, here's another article about ancient technology. So the reason why we need to be able to emulate everything. Apparently, the remaining of the McLaren F1s use a laptop from back in like 1984 to repair their
it's
supercars.
actually the early 90s, so let's not exaggerate too much. I actually remember working on
1984 is a significant year. That's why I said it.
uh, okay, if in that context then I commend you on your reference um uh
George Orwell.
Orwell. Yeah, yeah, there you go.
But
Uh
Phoenix, you can't. You have to. So basically, we have to install something to do that. That's not helpful or beneficial. The nice thing is being able to stream it embedded from our site. So, um,
Um, so I wanted to, Bradley and I were both playing around with OPN Sense, and we seem to both have an issue using it. We believe it may be the source of the problem. Potentially, we thought at first we
have you
both have.
confirmed that yet, or are you just rambling
We
on about
I'm just rambling on about it, pie holes, but what I wanted to ask the question, if anybody else out there is using OPN Sense and have issues with a cell phone connected to that router getting updates over Wi-Fi from Google Play, the Play Store, searching for applications or otherwise downloading or installing new ones, please let me know. And we've enabled a lot of IDS related stuff, and I don't know if it's related to that or not, but Brantley and I didn't really discuss, but we both encountered the same problem. So I'm guessing that it's not a trivial or it might be something that's easily mistakenly said or not done correctly. But if anybody has any information about that or could clarify, please let us know. We'd love to hear from you. You guys are really smart and knowledgeable. So
but I don't
thanks.
think anyone else has used OPN since yet.
Well, if
Maybe
you
because
happen
it
to.
breaks that stuff.
Well,
That's why.
I'm sure it's a side effect of how it's configured or whatever, but I got to look into it further. There's a couple of vague details that we don't haven't narrowed down yet. Again, we initially thought it might be a pie hole blocking issue, but it doesn't appear to be anymore. So we'll see. I'll report back if we can shed some light on it. But if anybody has any clue or has some similar experience, let us know.
Yes, I guess.
Phoenix still wants us to do. He apparently is all hardcore about the Discord.
We're we're using IRC, and that's final.
Yeah.
It took us this long to get it set up and working right, and it works perfect. So
Yeah.
we're
So as a more climate related, since it's we were doing the horrible stories today, did we talk about? Yeah, there's one oil field, and of course it's in the U.S., a shale field that's responsible for 2% of the globe's ethane, and that's about 250,000 tons each year. It doesn't sound like a lot, they're saying, but it's a single region. They're 10 to 100 times larger than reported in previously in such a small region, and that's it's just disturbing. So you guys can look at the details of that, but there's another Washington Post article that um, goes into it in more detail, but um, I don't know. It sounds like that's a big mess. Um,
does it? I thought it would be just regular.
well, no, I mean us polluting the environment, and and so we're in the U.S. basically talking about. how we're leaders in this, and the rest of the world should take our nod, and as far as climate and reduction in using gas and stuff like that. But most of it has been, replaced now with these, alternatives, shale and those other things. And not only does it apparently cause earthquakes, but now it's also responsible for massive uh, ethane increases, and that's a bad gas as well for the atmosphere and for global warming. So we're replacing one thing with another, and so we need to get coordinated. We can't have everyone doing a different thing. We need to all, in my opinion, be on the same page as far as this is concerned. Because just because you switch away from actual petrol to something slightly, different doesn't mean that uh, that it's a good thing. And I know we want to increase production to avoid our dependence upon third-party oil for stuff, but the point is that, and the point that people keep on missing is that we need to just get off of it. And arguments and issues like this are not the way to do that. But I'm sorry, I don't want to rant.
So Steve Gibson had a show on Tuesday. I tried watching that show that you had posted previously, Phoenix. It's kind of boring. Uh, or maybe it's just because they talk a little bit too much technical side. Um, it was
Oh,
the Cash Bleed one. I watched that and I was just like half asleep by the time they started the show.
I think they're excellent. Thank you, Phoenix.
They do
I'm a big
in-show
fan.
advertisements. I don't like those unless they're funny.
Um,
Um,
well,
no,
well,
Michael, you were talking about we're posting the worst stories ever. This one definitely follows that.
does it follow the toy company pushing ransomware through their website?
The toy
Just be careful.
company that you had no idea who it was and what they make.
Yeah.
um, this one's a little bit more devastating. It goes over the worst catastrophes that humankind has faced. Um, and it looks like it was smallpox was probably the worst. Over 300 million dead from smallpox.
Oh, by the way, they do miniature and radio-controlled toy vehicles. Smallpox, yeah, has killed a lot of people. But you could also argue that I don't know, I haven't even looked at your link yet, but the pneumonic form of the bubonic plague probably resulted in a tremendous number of deaths, and the bubonic plague in general is responsible, at least in Europe in that region at the time, for a quarter to a third of the population there were killed. So those are
Black Death was only 50 to 75 million.
and well, it's only 200,000 deaths. You said smallpox. 300 million
Smallpox
over the
was,
course of the 20th century. Yeah,
yeah.
well, yeah, yeah, yeah. But that's the other percentages of world population, though, I think are more significant, just because um, that many people have died over the course of 100 years doesn't necessarily mean that they were significant percentages of the world population at the time. Well,
Doesn't mean that, but still, it was a lot.
because it's in the 20th century, 300, because the
Hey,
populations
hey,
have increased so
Phoenix
much in recent years. Population was so much smaller back then. It was a much more significant slice of the pie for 75 million people, for instance. That's 17% of the world's population. Of the world's population. We're not talking about Europe.
So yeah. Phoenix has a crypto prevent question. So
Oh, yeah, yeah.
version 8 is coming along. There are a few bugs that have been found and fixed, a few bugs that have not been fixed yet, and a few things that, because of Michael's thingings, um, I've had to add to 8 now. So there's a lot of work being done on it, and it's coming along. It's not coming along as fast as I would like, but it's getting there. It's getting there. Plus, it has a new feature on the notification tray too, so that's cool. And hey, Glenn, welcome, Glenn. Um, Yeah, I wasn't going to mention that burning river in Australia. I don't really know if it is political grandstanding there, but it's been like it's been shown in America too, lighting ponds and stuff on fire. There's actually two movies about fracking. I forget their name at this time, but it's two documentaries about it. And the first documentary, they actually show how you can turn your spigot on and set your tap water on fire. So fracking definitely has a lot of consequences, and the biggest thing about it is those companies doing fracking are basically unregulated on how they
Yeah,
handle
yeah,
their materials, what they put into the ground, and how they deal with it after they've put it into the ground. So there's a lot of waste that comes from it, and it's just not a good thing. I don't think fracking's worth the savings that we're getting. I'd rather be paying $3 in gas than fracking on American soil because you also have earthquakes coming from it as well. So
yeah. The earthquake issue to me is a little bit more disturbing, but the Brantley's point about the unregulation, I think, is alone should be enough to suggest an issue with it. But I guess time will ultimately tell. We'll see what the
it is good to mention though that it's not every fracking place that is like that. I like saying things like that. Um, it's
Have we reverted back to when Battlestar Galactica was back on TV?
oh, they cursed using fracking.
Well, no, no. They didn't say like fuck on the show or whatever they would say. I think
Why
what
would
did
you
they
say
say?
that on our show?
Oh, sorry.
Jesus.
Okay.
Um. Anyway, let's move on from that because that is a political hailstorm. Hey, look, Nick's joined us and he's got a new background after he spent all that time working on getting his stuff working right for the other background. You're muted as well, Nick.
Oh yeah, hey, what's up?
You can
Hey,
still
Tom.
read this stuff and it's disappearing into the waves, which is almost as cool as
I
Scott.
move it down. I was just
It
see.
looks perfect there.
Actually,
It's
it's not too bad. But I was going to open the other background. Yeah, hmm, oops. It's like the only area of this app that doesn't just like have it there for you to pick that you later. Happy Friday.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, Glenn, you're seeing the same kind of things there, but don't agree with fracking either. My, we'll say one more thing on it. That's let's drop the fracking stuff. Is basically you pump a whole bunch of chemicals under the ground, and then you pull them back up, and then you take out natural gas. That just seems like a terrible idea, especially when we still use groundwater for drinking portable water. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's just a bad idea. Hey,
Potable, not portable, potable, but yeah.
Timster's joined us as well. So you can't make it portable? It can't be portable if it's
Yeah,
potable?
but portable and potable, one means drinkable, the other means movable, or
Yeah.
Hey,
you know what I
Timster.
mean.
Um, so moving on from that, it looks like the the best place to hide your data is Switzerland. Imagine that. The place where we have uh, banking regulations for privacy. Now the US labels Switzerland as a internet piracy haven. So
Ooh. Hmm.
I thought that was the Netherlands, honestly, but what do I know? Hey, Brytek's here even. Hey, Brytek.
No. Oh, that's awesome.
Brytek
Oh,
is the
he
one that
is
did
here.
the
He is here.
Here.
E72 video,
Yay, that's right there.
which I have somewhere and can link to again.
I bet he's
Welcome,
got.
Brytech, and thank you for making that awesome video. Hey, it looks like it just broke 6,000 views. Awesome, man. Awesome job there. So we'll post that link there. Pulling in all the big stars on the show. Timster and Brytech, we had a Void Errors. Yes. Oh, Void Errors is there today. Welcome.
You're kidding.
Miguel, Timster, Brytech, the whole gang's here.
That is super. I'm just saving some presets. I don't want to lose this. This is kind of sweet looking setup I got going right now. So.
So this one's more of a link for me to check out later. Tools to tweak a Linux distro. So that's going to be awesome. And hopefully I'll be able to tweak my Linux distro. So for anyone that doesn't know, I cloned my laptop and it didn't take the clone, so I just said screw it and put Linux on there, and I'm going to try going full
He
Linux.
said, "Oh well."
Yeah, I did say, oh well, do it basically. That's yeah. Very good, not with no accent. It sounds even more believable actually.
I'm trying.
Anyway, I'm going to go full Linux on that laptop and live out a virtual machine, since most all of the stuff I do and work with is in Windows. I think it will work out fairly well because Ring Central is the only one I'm questioning about, but I think as long as I'm only using one audio source, it's going to be fine. But on that point, it's actually, I set up a virtual system on my Windows, and it is a Windows system, but I did that for a specific reason, because I am tired of Chrome taking up as much RAM as it possibly can. So I set up a virtual machine to run my Chrome instance in. And I essentially gave that virtual machine 8 gigs of RAM, and now Chrome can't take up any more of my RAM.
Is it
It's like I put Chrome in timeout and said,
okay,
look,
but wait a second. Now
you're not allowed to leave this room
I'm
at all.
questioning the memory usage just a little bit. Now, if you keep a lot of YouTube windows open, is it gonna keep any of those videos in RAM?
Do what?
If you keep a lot of YouTube videos open, is it going to keep a lot of those download content? Like I know, for instance, if I have Flash content in Firefox, the memory usage is dramatic for videos that I have in those pages, or those pages use dramatic amounts of video or memory. And I was wondering if that's the reason potentially,
I
and how it might change if you don't have a lot of those videos open. I don't know, just a thought.
I don't care, because Chrome's going to have to deal with only having 8 gigs of RAM. I don't care how much I have open. It's just going to have to deal with it, and however it knows how.
Okay. Okay. I just Chrome is consistently worse than other browsers you've used as far as memory consumption is concerned.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But it's the only one that I've used heavily, so
well, see, that's see the data there. I'm trying to just glean the useful bits of data out of what you're saying here, and I generally have experienced a similar issue. But
go ahead and say that I essentially copied and pasted the tabs that I had open for the show, which was about 40 tabs or so.
Okay.
One by one from my system to the virtual system.
Mm-hmm.
The virtual system runs perfectly fine and smoothly, and my system runs a lot better now.
Well, of course, I mean, you would expect it, because your main system no longer has that RAM burden, because you artificially limit the other system. But
yeah.
it's what's going on with that? Is it swapping? Is that system, the virtual machine, swapping in that case, or what's actually transpiring?
I turned swapping off on my virtual systems.
Oh, you do? Okay. Then yeah, you should be fine, assuming you don't get, it is possible to crash Windows without a swap file, but but you can do it
What?
if you have enough RAM.
Oh,
Yeah, if you don't have
What?
swap.
well, no, man. I mean, yeah, well, you need enough RAM, I guess. But I mean,
I know, but you can. But if you record, if you don't have swap and you try to Windows expects
I
there to
think it'll
be.
just make some anyway these days. I don't think it.
I don't. Have y'all
I don't
forgotten?
think it
It'll
cares
come.
what you tell, what
No,
you do.
you can turn swap off, and
It's
if you
like I
run
know
out
you
of
can, but Windows
no,
is
wait,
getting
wait,
to
wait,
be
wait.
like Terminator,
No,
the
if you
liquid
turn
one.
swap off, y'all have got to remember this message box. It'll come up if you have swap off.
I
It'll
know the
come up
message
and
box.
say your virtual memory is too low. Close some programs.
Does it
That's
still do
all.
that though?
As far as I know, I want to say I've seen it on 7 before. Since I've gone up to 10,
Oh,
I've had more RAM, so I haven't run into that
The
issue.
only thing I see is a sideways smiley face in text font or something. I don't know what it is anymore. I don't even pay attention, but I don't like seeing it. I still see it a bit, which is why I was thinking about doing like a Linux, like a host, and then just doing everything in Windows,
VMs. That's
and
what I'm doing
VMs
on my laptop.
for most things.
I'll be able to tell you how that goes.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say with that is switching between audio devices has never been fun in Linux. So
Yeah, I know. That's why I don't even. That's why I haven't even tried yet because
that's why I'm not
I don't have
trying
that kind of
it on
time,
my.
actually. I'm sure it's
my
not. I'm sure it's no different than it was in like '96 or whenever, even back then. I'm sure it's no different whatsoever. It's going to be quirky and it's going to take some time to get to work right or something. Just
I
because
actually
today's modern, well, and I think it's like it's been way better since then, but for like supported like common things, even still, there's a point, and then technology continues to push and push and push. I know the community is large and great, and it's awesome right now, and it's way better than it was. But I still think that with my luck, I will have hardware that will make me have to do the same thing I did, like so many
yeah.
years ago, and so
Well,
many
I think the
that
biggest
I
thing
just it's not
is
so many times through.
I think the biggest thing for you would be, as we've seen with your green screen setup, you would find that you could do something, so you would
Mhm.
focus on being able to do that. And
Right,
with Linux, you have
right.
a lot more options about what you can do, so you would probably spend a lot of time trying to configure those things, and that can cause more issues if you're doing that with your OS versus a green screen.
Sorry, it's windy out. It's sand in my teeth.
And yes, on the beach there that he's broadcasting from.
Well, no, but I did just take that picture a few minutes ago.
Yep.
So,
So yeah, Michael, don't use the same one that you're using. You do have 2 IRC chats open. You have to use the.
yeah, I'm aware. I'm aware. So far, thank you for that. But
What has Tim got to say to you in private that he can't say in front of
is
all
it
of us?
Timster or he said Brytech is requesting a private chat, and I'm in a private chat with Brytech, and he's not saying anything to me. Should
Oh
I?
yeah, I read it backwards.
But Timster, I'll get in a private
dude,
chat with
that's
him too.
satanic.
No, it's not. No, Timster said Brytech is requesting a private chat with you.
Oh, I mean, like when you read something backwards.
Yeah. So, but Brytech appears to be just watching the other window that he's private chatting with me in, but I can't use that. So he has to chat with me through my other name, foolish_Michael. So anyway, so I've initiated a chat with him, but he doesn't seem to be talking to me. All right,
I'm
whatever.
willing to bet that Tim's just pulling your leg.
Yeah, that could
Oh,
be. Um,
oh,
Tim's a
oh,
prankster.
poopy. Oh, no. Hmm.
Tim, we're gonna have to talk about all those messages you sent Johnny, and then blamed on Brytech. That was not very nice. Not very nice at all. I don't think Brytech would have said those things. Anyway, we can't get into them on the show because then we'd have to keep it age restricted. So let's move on to the FCC is introducing rules to prevent 5G price hiking. So when we get the mythical 5G out and about, hopefully we won't have increased prices from it, which telecom providers love to do.
Need to.
And this is something that I'm super excited about. Have any of y'all watched the Daredevil season 2 with the Punisher on it? No.
Oh, I haven't watched season 1 yet. Punisher's on. Oh,
Yeah. The Daredevil series on Netflix is by far one of the best Marvel adaptations I've seen yet.
that's what I keep hearing, and it's got decent stars, I guess, or whatever, and everyone says it's awesome, and it's
acting is
like
really
that.
good. The show is really good. The directing, photography, videography, everything is really, really good. So highly, highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Season 1 kind of focused on Daredevil and getting him set up. Season
Right.
2 had Daredevil, the Punisher, and the other chick that is the samurai martial art girl. I forget what her name is right offhand. Katana.
Electra or
Electra. There you go. You got it.
I keep forgetting to get some green stuff from my chair when I get, because it's all blue and it's excuse me, not right.
You can't see it in any way with your Zoom.
I'm working on it.
Anyway, so based off of that, though, Netflix is coming out with a Punisher series by itself. So honestly,
Oh my goodness.
compared to the Punisher movie that came out, they did a much, much better job at his backstory and setup of it. So I'm super excited about that. Hopefully, some of the same people. It looks like they're taking the same character from the season 2 Daredevil and giving him his own series. So hopefully that will be just as awesome as Daredevil, and then there will be 2 Marvel adaptations that I really like. So
Awesome. Oh, wait a minute.
Phoenix, how are their music playlists on YouTube?
Test screen here.
Just watching videos?
Oh gosh, I can't do that. I can't look over. Oh man.
That's a lot of electronica. I think I'm the only one here that would like that playlist.
Probably.
So, have y'all heard of No Man's Sky yet? This one, it's not a. The article isn't that interesting about where it's coming from and all that. I had read some other articles about it and wanted to talk about it because it's a very, very interesting game concept. Essentially, you're dropped in this place and you're out to discover worlds, and doesn't seem like that different from sci-fi stuff. Blah blah blah. The biggest difference is behind the programming of it. The game actually programs the worlds that you find. So it's like creating things and doing things. So essentially, every user's experience will be different, is what I'm picking up from this game. And I think that's going to be awesome. Like, at the same time, you're not going to be able to say, oh, did you get to this part and did you see this part? But you're going to have your own story for having played that game. That's a pretty cool concept for a game, I think, and way to go about it. So,
But your own, I was just like zooming out. Well, your own story.
yeah, so like the game writes itself and the worlds and like creates the worlds and things that you interact with on the fly. So your experience will be different from mine. So
well, I played a game a while back that was a collaboration with I think Orson Scott Card, and he's an author. He did the Ender series, being and some Alvin Maker series. It's awesome. He sci-fi, and he also does like some. I used to lectures, colleges and stuff. Some or other. world politics or something, history. I don't know, crazy big guy. But he does some stuff. But he does and it's obvious in his writing. But his gosh, I forgot where I was going with that. Oh, the game was can't think of it now. I'm gonna have to figure it out. But this was many years ago. I was still playing games, but the story evolved differently for the choices that you made.
Yeah.
And but it was highly like it was not like a there were not like 4 or even 16 endings or something. I mean, it was like the whole game was but it wasn't so immersive. You could do a lot, and it was like a big world, but it was not. It was still like very it's still very fixed compared to something like a MMORPG or like
Yeah. You could come out with the same ending as someone else came out with.
Yeah, you could. Yeah.
Yeah.
I played it a couple of times, actually, several times to do different.
Nice. Well, I do like how more games are going with alternate endings. Far Cry 4 did that, actually. Actually, interesting enough, if you play Far Cry 4, like you get captured, like the opening sequence is you get captured by the boss that you're going to be fighting against the whole game. And he leaves you in a room and he says, "Wait here 15 minutes, I'll be right back." And if you do that, if you just sit there for 15 minutes instead of going out and exploring and running away, basically, the game will be over right then. So like you get in the game, you watch the opening sequence, you sit there for 15 minutes, and then he comes back, y'all have dinner, and the game's over. Um, but if you do go out and leave, you get to go and battle the whole world and stuff. But they have different paths and choices you can make, and the characters react to you differently throughout the game based on what choices and path you take. So it is pretty interesting getting that. And yeah, it does give you replayability in your game. So it is nice having alternate um, endings and choices in games anyway.
Yeah, that's really cool. I like that, but gosh, wow, there's so it does bring a lot of replay value to a game that company. It does seem like that they have been spending time avoiding doing that,
Yeah.
maybe somewhat, reserving it for certain titles because it's just and wow, until they get that the Minecraft
Yeah. Which, by the way,
in-game purchases.
Minecraft is on Samsung Gear VR now, so you can do first-person Minecraft.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Phoenix, is that the same? Isn't that the same story you posted yesterday about the person being
Tim
in jail
just
for 7 months after
I,
not handing over his passwords? We talked about that yesterday.
I see you later, Brightech.
Later, Brytech. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for the video.
Thanks, Brytech. Take care.
Oh, Timster doesn't have VR. Yeah, I got the Samsung Gear VR actually. It's really fun. I even got Nick to play it. Well, he watched a video on it. He didn't really play it.
What? Huh? What? Huh? Oh, the dinosaur
VR.
butt.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I could do. Like he's like, and Brantley's like, you can look around, and I was like, well, I'm not really interested. Oh no. Oh yeah, that's right. And all I could see was the dinosaur's butt, like right up his butt. And I was like, did you notice that the dinosaur has no butthole? And other various things. And it's like this is very realistic, kind of otherwise, but because he was like, isn't it realistic? I'm like, well, no, because dinosaurs poop.
Uh,
Sorry, I'm done.
Other things, though, are very realistic in that they didn't take the time to make the dinosaur poop. I'm sorry, but
Well, I wasn't looking for him to actually do it. I just expected a.
you were.
Just smooth.
No,
They didn't
you
spend all.
were. In fact, you probably would have gone out and bought a Samsung Galaxy Edge S and a VR if I had showed you a video of a dinosaur to look around at. you probably would have done it right then. Like you would have just taken it off your head and said, "I'll be right back,"
Just walk around the.
and gone to Best Buy and bought all the stuff you needed just so you could watch that every night.
Oh gosh, you're hurting me.
That would be awesome, RTM Tech, if you had
See you, Miguel.
a game that you could record your dreams and replay them in VR. That would be awesome. Tim's jealous. Tim, I would recommend getting a Google Cardboard one, but it's not nearly as good as the Samsung one. And if you don't already have a Samsung phone, you're much better off actually getting a Oculus Rift or HTC Vive or one of the ones that hooks up to your computers, because I know your computer is nice enough to handle it, so you should be able to. They are really, really fun though, and I do want a Oculus or a Vive. Johnny had said she's gonna get a Vive at some point, I think.
Even a zombie worm.
Hey, zombie worm. So
I am getting the Vive.
when are you getting that?
Soon.
Shh. What's really funny is she only has a laptop and she's not going to be able to use it except on my computer. So I'm getting a Vive.
No.
She's paying for it.
No. You're not getting a Vive. The Vibe. No. Vive. Vive.
Vibe's getting you. In Soviet Russia, the Vibe eats you.
I will buy a desktop too.
Okay. Like you have to buy a top of the line desktop, but okay. Whoa, Phoenix. Copy and paste a little much there.
Wow.
It's probably because you're running that Discord. It's messing with your clipboard.
We had celebrities in here tonight.
Vive.
Yeah. Viva. So what else we got here? We got some other things. These are a little bit older news, but if you're scared of bed bugs, I think Michael is. They have certain colors that they like. Yeah, so if you want to keep Michael off your bed as well, you can get certain colors. They tend to favor red and black sheets and avoid green and yellow. So and Phoenix posted a link that hackers have leaked a terabyte of documents from Kenya's Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I wonder what that's going to bring us, though. Actually, like, does Kenya really have interesting documents? I guess maybe their foreign affairs has something, but I'd had another link about something to that effect.
Zombie. The other background I had. Oh shit! You're gonna do it, aren't you? Hang on.
What? You're gonna do what? What are you doing? Oh, he muted. All right. Well, we had talked yesterday about Comcast raising their caps, their data caps, and it probably is because a bunch of people have been complaining to the FCC about broadband data caps. So that might.
Yeah. Yeah. That was linked to, or they were mentioning that it's because of the increase in the complaints we're starting to see these types of things. In other words, the FCC isn't just, deciding out of the blue to crack down as the cable and telephone companies would have you believe on their offerings and services. It has nothing to do with that. These are basically end consumers who are finally standing up and saying, hey, yes, these companies are providing horrible customer service. They're raising our prices. They're lowering our usage of their services. And this is, it's not acceptable. And great, yeah. And they need an advocate like the FCC to do something like this for them. But of course, there's a whole lot of people who would argue that that just needs to go away. The FCC needs to just go away. But just understand that they serve a very broad role, and our use of technology and wireless and everything else pretty much absolutely depends upon them doing what they do. So either you take the whole package of the FCC and you live with it, or you throw it all away. But you can't decide that it works a little bit, it's okay at one point and it's not okay, or there's an exception for us players, because they're consumer advocacy primarily, and I'm glad to see this type of thing, in place. And now they have some teeth to be able to enforce it with everyone, and that's of course scaring everyone to death. But as long as it's legitimate, and they don't just come up with random rules, of course, I think it's okay. Anyway.
So Phoenix posted that the TrueCryptor ransomware dev left a flaw in the code that lets people decrypt their files. That's awesome news for people. And also a link about using Windows God mode. Malware is now abusing it, and God mode is where you create that special folder on your desktop, and it gives you access to uh, certain items. So I don't use that. I don't. It didn't really have anything that was really that you couldn't already get to
Yeah.
in other places. It just put all the nice stuff in one.
God mode only really became a big
folder.
thing because of the name. I mean, God mode sounds pretty cool, and people
Yeah.
of our age, retro gaming type age, or not retro really even so much, just Doom. There was, God modes in various video games basically, and that appealed to everyone. But again, as Brantley expressed, it's really nothing you can't get to otherwise. And typically, if you needed to change any of these things, you already know where to go to do it, and you don't need a special shortcut folder to make that terribly any easier. I found it interesting at first just to see what it offered, but other than that, it hasn't been something I've used at all. In fact, over the course of the past year or more since I've discovered it, or a couple of years since I discovered it.
Um, Also, Phoenix posted that there's a fake LastPass Chrome extension, and I say just beware if you're using LastPass.
LastPass, yeah.
Probably should stop using it because it obviously is not good for staying away
Security.
from those things.
Yeah.
Zombie Worm, you have missed a lot of pie stuff lately. I've posted all kinds of pie stuff that show you how much better the pie is than Odroid. So go back
Listen,
and check some
just
of
to
the
give you an
older
idea,
episodes.
just to give you
The
an
past,
idea, by
past.
the
How
way,
long have you had
Zombie.
your Odroid? Like a month now.
About a month, I guess I've had my Odroid, and I have
Over
not
the
used it. I have not used my Pi since I've got it.
over the whole
Since I've
past
got the
month,
Droid.
Zombie Worm, I've had lots of links about Pi stuff. I have all the links in the description, so you can just search through those if you don't want to watch the whole episode. But you can. I'll tell you what I said in the episode every time I posted a Pi thing is that this is something you can do with the Raspberry Pi that you can't do with the
and and
Odroid.
and
So,
okay, yeah, and just to
and
say,
Michael gets really
it's
upset, just like he's
wrong. No,
doing
it's
right
wrong
now.
because anyone
But
can do any of the projects on a Raspberry Pi on
but
there. Just because they have to
anyway, blah
recompile the
blah blah blah
software
blah
does not
blah blah.
mean.
The Odroid sucks. Blah blah blah. The good thing is that the one that I really did like is the Pocket laptop. So you can do a Pocket laptop or a laptop that fits in your pocket with a Raspberry Pi, and you can't do it with Odroid. So that's pretty cool. Um, and yes, Glenn, I that would be terrible if ISPs are putting that small data of allowances. I mean, like, at least Comcap's giving you 300, but wow. Oh, with wireless. Okay, wireless is different. Now, there was another article, I don't have it, but the big thing with wireless stuff
Well,
is you
Comcast
actually have
increased
to
their
be,
caps to
hold
1
on, hold
terabyte.
on, hold
Remember?
on, hold on.
Okay.
You have to be aware of installing apps with ads, because ads will actually take up a significant portion of that mobile data allowance. Like, even if you're playing something that doesn't require internet access, it's still grabbing ads like every few seconds. So that's where you get a big hit on that. And the Play Store actually now includes, under the install button, it tells you if the app contains ads so that you can be aware of them.
I love how the world transformed sometime in the 80s to basically accept having to pay extra money to receive ads.
Good
Basically, it
pizza.
stopped with it started with I believe cable TV, whose big advertising thing at the time was that you don't get ads with our product, and that's obviously I don't know if anybody has cable TV these days, but I mean, yeah, unless you have a premium channel, you get advertising, and even on the premium channels, they advertise themselves. So and basically, well, with the caps and everything else, you're effectively causing the cost of those ads to be absorbed by the consumer, and yeah.
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 So Zombie Worm, I don't really have a best mobile ad blocker. Um, Honestly, if you don't have root on Android, you're pretty much stuck with it. Um, if you're using it at home, the Pi-hole is awesome for blocking mobile ads. It's actually one of the main reasons I have a Pi-hole set up, is because I can have my phones and tablets and stuff connect and have the ads blocked. But when I'm out on mobile data, the ads come right back. So um, ad blocker is available for rooted droids, but if you don't have root, then you pretty much have to deal with mobile ads, which is a sad fact. On Android, at least, Apple has recently released it so that you could have ad blockers. So um, hopefully they'll figure out something with that. There was one thing that used a VPN setup to block mobile ads with, and that was pretty cool. But I don't recall the name of it right offhand. It was some firewall type thing, so maybe check into that. Nick, you were about to say something before all these rants. Do you remember?
Mm-mm. No, no. No clue. No. Wait. Let me look in the what you got. Oh, zombie. I ran out of jalapeno beer. I'm on grapefruit IPA right now. The jalapeno IPA is gone. Should I have some in a. That's not cold though. It's a warm case over, but I just forgot about that. I have to fix that up for tomorrow. Right now I'm doing grapefruit sculpin from Ballast Point, whereas I also had the habanero. And I was doing right now I'm doing grapefruit, and I've also got a pineapple here, which is really good.
He said grapefruit is way less impressive than habanero. Phoenix posted an interesting link. Apparently, the OwnCloud founder is leaving OwnCloud to pursue new opportunities. Interesting. Maybe it'll come out with something as cool as OwnCloud.
Interesting. Who was it that was wondering what happened, and you said, "Hey, you spent all that time on that background today"? I'm like, "I did," and hey, here it is.
Oh yeah, there's
By the
his
way,
background now. Michael, now you can see what the
Mhm.
Linux thing is doing.
Michael, do you see?
It's doing.
Michael, do you see?
Yeah, I
Michael,
see. Yeah,
Michael,
stop,
do you
stop.
see? Michael,
What,
Michael, do you see?
what,
Michael.
what is he doing? He's got a
Do you
fly
see Michael?
swatter, and
Yep.
Yeah, he's got a fly swatter back
he's
there.
trying to swat a
That's what
butterfly.
we were trying to.
He's trying to watch
What?
fly the Microsoft MSN butterfly crap,
There you go.
Yeah, there you
and
go.
he's looking at it.
Now he gets it.
Oh, He looks a little bloated. This
he just
penguin.
couldn't get it
a little
earlier, and
mean.
we
He looks
just
mean, though. What is
had to
it?
move
First
on.
thing
We were
is
screen sharing, so I was in the small thing, and he was too lazy
Get
to
your
figure
hand out of the penguin. Get your hand out of the penguin.
Oh, excuse me. And he was too busy to figure out how to make me larger in the settings, and so we were like, well, you'll just have to see it later on the show because
Zombie Worm says it's way better than Michael's black noob background because he doesn't know how to fix his camera.
I know, right? I was really hoping that with especially with some of my recent efforts, I was really hoping that, last couple of, like the last week, I guess, since I actually put up the green screen, that maybe some people may, step up the bar a little bit, raise the.
My bar is fine, right where it is.
Just a tiny little bit because
I
that is.
like my bar.
Come on, that's ugly, dude.
I like it.
That's ugly. It is ugly. All right, we just nails spend all the time.
You can next time you come over.
Hey, actually, I wonder if I could just send you the files. Like, I'll look in the files if they're like plain text or something.
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah.
And the files and the little folder or whatever that comes with it, and you can just send that crap to you.
That would be cool if you can do that. Let's try that.
I'll look into it.
So speaking of that data leak way back, there's another data leak, and this came out 4 days ago, that another dating site has their users' details leaked online, and this one includes 170 government addresses. So if they're using their government address to sign up for a dating site, they're more than likely using the same password for their government email account, I would imagine. Zoomed in a little much there, but
Worries, man.
so this was an interesting video, not because of the content, but because of the music they chose to put behind the content. This is one of the leading food eating contest people eating 50 Krispy Kreme glazed donuts. But it's really weird because of the Michael, mute if you're going to be licking your dog.
Oh, sorry about that.
Hey, and Michael, just a tiny little bit of effort with the software that we have, just to point out. And you can do all kinds of things. You can even sit here and eat on camera with no one seeing anything but your eyes, and just imagine.
Michael can't even keep his camera.
And then we could even like have a little bit of your face on the camera for the show. It'd be awesome.
I'm working on something here.
Michael can't even keep his camera running throughout the day.
We'll see.
Weird. Like he's the only one that
crashing.
He won't even stay in the office chat.
Doesn't crash
He doesn't
for you.
even stay in the office chat, and then he goes for coffee for like an hour or two next door.
Yeah, that's why he leaves it black so that we can't see him. That he's gone for most of the day.
If anybody has a hard time,
I tell you when I go to get coffee. Why would I announce it then?
It's you.
What the fudge?
I should mirror. It's you.
Voice is going really high, so his concern.
That's when he gets really bad.
Oh, this is a great video. So this video makes me glad that I don't work in a production place that builds stuff. It's a retro work safety video, and I swear they kill more employees than I've ever seen in any video before. It's called Will You Be Here Tomorrow, and it is a crazy video. Dude had a nail shooting his eye. That had to be the best one. He's about to hammer a nail, and somehow the nail flies up into his eye. And apparently wearing safety glasses would have helped that, but how do you get a nail in your eye from trying to hammer it? It's a crazy video. I highly recommend watching it if you want a couple laughs, and it is a little bit gruesome, so be prepared for that. If you have a weak stomach and you're eating pizza, you may not want to watch it right now. And speaking of having thrown Johnny under the bus for crashing our drone, it looks like this will be what I'll have to get to prevent that from happening next time. There's an apparatus that I can hook to the Phantom that will, if you run it into something, it'll just bounce right back off of it, it looks like. So. Oh, and the creators of Doom and Quake have revealed a new sci-fi game. And this article is a little bit old, but it tells you more about it. But they actually reached their Kickstarter goal within 4 days. So that's pretty awesome. So we're going to see a new game from the creators of Doom and Quake, and it is called Black Room. From what I gather, you're going to be in a virtual world. You're going to be in a world that lives its life in a virtual world, and you're going to be playing in that virtual world. I'm not sure if you go back into the life that's not in the virtual world, but it's going to be interesting. Hopefully it'll be pretty cool from those people that created Quake and Doom. Hopefully it will be up to the par of the standard of those games. Excuse me. Zombie Worms says, check this out. Oh, yeah. So the Large Hadron Collider is shut down because a weasel went through and chewed up a bunch of wires. So, most powerful particle accelerator in the world is offline because of rodents.
Check it. Okay, so check it. What's blanking out this information in this picture? Those black bars are not in the picture I'm applying over here.
I don't know. Your life? Maybe?
No, but it's like it's trying to screen out information, and how does it know that what /miss/tor? I mean, it's like it's redacting something automatically.
I've never seen that, but I don't know why you don't just put your face on it. And at the same time, I'm not sure why it doesn't redact your face. So.
So why the picture doesn't have those black marks in it? It's simply adding those black marks into it. It did the same thing when I tried to put the Windows background. I do, the Windows 10 error code. It's like it tried to censor it. And why would it sense? Why would SparkoCam censor freaking an image?
Hey, you remember how we said we're not the help support for other software, and we told you to ask the help support of that software? This would be one of those cases where we don't know any more about SparkoCam than you do. So you should ask the help support of the product making the product.
Please do so.
Hey, on the note that you pointed out yesterday, Nick, about the wireless powering stuff, this is the article that I had read about that, and they go into a little bit more depth and detail, I think, about the design and how it works, and they have a YouTube video about it and what it's all about. So it looks pretty cool.
Big head doesn't work when you need to floss. Actually,
I'm not sure you should be flossing on the show, but okay. Oh wow, the Glenn is getting 2 minutes of lag over in Australia, and there is lots of copper between us. Some of it is actually glass. The cables under the water are actually fiber cables, I believe, not copper. But neither here nor there. The drones are making their way into other things than hobbyists. A firefighting company people were doing a controlled burn out in Nebraska, and a group of researchers that have been working on helping create some drone to help them do that. Got to test it out there, and looks like they liked it and it worked, but they had some bugs and kinks to work out of it still. So really interesting and nice to see that drones are getting actual uses past just hobbyists and stuff. So yes, fire people. And
Fable was a very popular game series. I've enjoyed the concept of it. I never actually played any of the games, so I can't speak from it otherwise. But the visual appeal looked enticing, and the fact that you could make, right, that's the one where you can
what are
make
you
the
talking
choices.
about?
The Fable games, right? That's the one where you can
Fable.
make the choices, like whether you're good or bad, kind of in the game. I kind of like those ideas, if that's what I'm thinking of, at least.
Yeah, drones are going to be so useful in so many ways. This is another drone actually that's you can fold up and it's safe to fly. It's got like this nice little encasing around all the blades, so it's a follow me drone. It looks extremely portable, and it's pretty cool that even if it runs into something, it's not going to hurt.
Oh
Oh, and the reason Eric brought up the Fable is because Microsoft closes Lionhead Studios. They've done some other stuff than Fable, haven't they? What else did Lionhead Studios make? Huh. Lionhead Studios game list. Looks like Fable is their most powerful one. Black and White, that was the one I played that was really fun by them. That was a really interesting game with choices. Like you got to decide if you're a good god or a bad god for all the people in the game. That was pretty interesting.
yeah.
Not
I used
many
to love playing that Ages of Mythology. You know, it's like the Age of Empires kind of spinoff.
Yeah.
They basically took Age of Empires, I think, and I never played that really, but it seemed to be like a more limited version. There was like less of a game dynamic, and the graphics were worse. And even the next one they came out with, I don't think was or two, or it was still, but the mythology one was just awesome with the expansion, and I played it for years, and then like I put it away, and then I went back and played it more years. I can still hear the music in my head. I'm like,
Nice.
at the sun god Ra and just crazy stuff. All right, anyway. It was awesome.
Futures Eric also points out they made Spore, and Timser just said Spore. Oh my God, OMG! Actually, so I haven't heard or played Spore. I'll have to look into that. If Tim likes it, it's probably good. Yeah, Black and White was awesome. That was a fun game. Oh, Tim has a special edition of Spore for sale.
Hmm.
Zombie worm.
I haven't. I just sent Jade the links the other night, and and it was so funny because I got her the Mike Tyson's Punch Out, which he had the link for about the 29-year-old who was just found, and so I had already like days before that had purchased it, so good because it probably went up, but
Mm-hmm.
before the article, but it was it was a little gift thingy for us, and I gave it to her, and it was Oh, she played. I can't remember his name, but it was the guy. It was one of the guys in the page, and she came up, and I was like working, and I slacked off, and I didn't give her the link. I gave her the gift. I didn't give her the link. Because that would have just made it so much better. And I'd even told her about the link, and I was just working. We were working on that thing, and um. mm, mm, and then I felt all bad. I had to give her the link later. It was kind of crappy, actually. Why am I telling this story? It was really neat, though. Mike Tyson's Punch Out. Yeah, original.
Yeah, it's got a lot of
And it still said Mike Tyson on it, which was nice.
nice. It's got a lot of hidden stuff in it. Like apparently you have to watch. If you watch the crowd, you can beat the entire game.
Yeah, yeah. I
Just
mean,
watching the crowd, you don't have to pay attention to the game at all. That's a pretty cool way to do it. Anyway, I'm using Pi-hole. Michael's using Pi-hole as well.
I don't know.
Michael,
Good for this.
Is your Odroid's not going to be able to run OPN since they don't have an ARM compatible version.
I'm aware, but I didn't say I was going to run OPN sense. I'm going to find a ARM compatible gateway OS or set up my own, basically.
You're going to be using Open.
No, I can set up a gateway. Look, I can just use Ubuntu to set up.
WRT.
No, I can use. Well, I mean that might be a possibility, but and I may actually do that, but I think I could just use Ubuntu, or that it comes with 1604, and configure it by hand to do that, to serve that purpose. But honestly, I would rather probably go the OpenWRT route, at least at first, until something else is available for the ARM platform.
So get ready for Michael not to have any internet connection at all. So, on that note, we've almost reached an hour and a half. Do we want to go ahead and wrap up this Friday?
We probably should. I need to get to life.
Yeah.
Because I gotta do stuff.
Sounds good. So, thanks everyone for joining us. Timster, Avoid Errors, Miguel, and Brytech. Thanks all for joining us. Features Eric, thanks for throwing out the links and talking. And Phoenix and RTM Tech and Glenn and Zombie Worm. Great having all of y'all here. It's always a pleasure to
thanks guys.
talk with y'all for a little bit.
Thanks, including all the insults.
Such a good Friday. Nice turnout.
But I do appreciate you guys chatting with us every day. It's nice.
Not a problem, Zombie Worm. I hope your house is going well, and we understand not being able to do it on mobile data. That definitely would be hurtful if I didn't have a broadband connection. So, no worries at all. But anyway, thanks everyone for joining us. We'll be back on Monday at 8 a.m. We will talk to y'all later.
Bye, Internet.
Bye, Internet.
Bye, Internet.
Okay.